two middle-aged men standing in front of a green screen. I mean, you could do what you want, but it's not going to change that, is it?
No, that's true. That's very true. Please welcome the good doctor,
Hello, Brian.
Dr. Mark Kermode, one half of the movie doctors.
Yeah, actually, the only one of the two movie doctors that actually is a doctor. I did a PhD, so I studied for 4 years to get a PhD. Mayo woke up one day and Warwick University sent him an honorary PhD because he's famous. So the two movie doctors, one real doctor and one fake doctor, although actually neither of us are medical doctors.
Well, look, if I just put my thumb over the S, we have the movie
doctor. That's
movie
more
doctor.
accurate. Thank you.
Well, listen, I have some cinematic symptoms that I want you to help.
I'm here to help, Brian.
Thank you, Mark. Dr. Mark, this is a bit of a private matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's about excessive length.
Yes.
Okay. And
yes.
should we snip or not snip?
Okay.
Can you advise me on that?
Well, one of the weird things about movies, you know, there's all this stuff about, you know, size doesn't matter, length doesn't matter, but as far as film directors are concerned, it appears that they want everything to be longer than it actually should be. And one of the questions we address in the book is, on the subject of length, are you making your film 3 hours long because that's good for the audience, or are you making it 3 hours long because it's good for Quentin Tarantino because he just likes to make all his films that long? My argument is this. I agree with Roger Corman, who famously said there are very few films that would not benefit from losing a third of their running time. He also said that no film should be allowed to be over 90 minutes long without papal dispensation. And then there's the 2001 rule, which is that if Stanley Kubrick can go from the beginning of mankind to the birth of a new species in 2 hours and 20 minutes, you don't need 3 hours to do Django Unchained. I mean, occasionally there are movies which do justify excessive length, but most directors would benefit from somebody saying, actually, smaller is better. Size does matter, but less is more.
Less is more. Fantastic. Thank you. Now, like yourself, I review movies, I go and see movies every week.
Yes.
And I feel that I'm overpraising movies
yes.
recently. Could this be bad for my health?
It's very bad. Well, actually, it's not bad for your health. It's bad for the health of the filmmakers. So there is very good evidence that the worst thing you can do to any filmmaker is to tell them they're a genius. Actually, if you give filmmakers bad reviews, they tend to do their best work. They tend to, you know, they fight back by doing better work. There are a couple of examples in the book. One of them is Michael Cimino, who, of course, made The Deer Hunter, and everyone said, Michael, you're a genius. You're the best filmmaker in the whole world. We must immediately give a contract that will enable you to make whatever film you want at whatever cost you want for however long you want. And, of course, he made Heaven's Gate, which famously bust United Artists. The other classic example of that is John Boorman, who I actually think is a very good and interesting filmmaker. But Boorman famously, back in the early 70s, he'd been struggling with some movies, and he made Deliverance. And he made Deliverance, and everyone said, wow, that's the work of an auteur. You should go and do whatever you want to do. And what he wanted to do was Zardoz, which is the worst science fiction film ever made. And then he followed that up by Exorcist II: The Heretic, which is the worst film ever made. So, yeah, it's bad for the filmmakers, not necessarily for you, although as a film reviewer, it's bad for you because you'll then have to sit through Zardoz and Heaven's Gate. So, you know, it's a lose-lose situation.
I'm going to keep my praise in check.
Yeah, be mean. In the long run, it's better.
Thank you. Dr. Mark, I'm suffering from poor posture.
Oh, yes.
I'm sitting rather uncomfortably in the cinema. How should I be sitting when I'm watching a movie?
Well, here's the question. Firstly, you don't wear glasses, do you?
No.
Do you never wear glasses?
Never.
Okay. Posture in the cinema is very, very important, and it depends also on how long the film is. The longer the film is, the more important the posture is. So you have to take into account three things. Firstly, you have to take into account the distance from the screen. Then you have to take into account the rake, which is the angle that the seats are at. And you have to sit in a position whereby you're sitting upright, and if you are a glasses wearer, which I am, the top line of your glasses has to be in line with the top of the cinema screen. So the best way of imagining this is as you sit, put your hand like that, you know, like you're looking at Titanic, you know, And if that is then that is the perfect posture.
Wow.
If it's a 90-minute film, it doesn't make any difference. You can slump. But if it's Heaven's Gate, the director's cut, or something like that, you need. Otherwise, you start feeling pain in the back of your neck, in the the small of your back, and all the rest of it. So it's very, very important to get the right posture, and it's worth spending a few minutes just to get, particularly, I mean, if you get to our age, the posture is very, very important, because it's not just your bum that starts to hurt during a long movie.
Well, thank you. I feel better.
You do. You look better, Brian. I think the book has worked.
Fantastic.